Well, I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fined for my last job.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. It's Wade only. Carter's still out. He'll be back tomorrow. Safe travels, Brent, as you come back from Paris, Texas. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to everybody joining us on Magic, Facebook, YouTube. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, make sure you like and share the video, please. Trying to spread the word, grow the show a little bit. So do us a favor, like and share it with your friends. They don't have to like it, but they might. You never know. Judge Posey, first one in. Scott Tomko, Greg Garcia. Me being about a minute late getting rolling was probably beneficial to some of you folks. Getting in this morning, Kendra Douglas, Stephanie Conti, Justin Glass, Tammy Keeling, Sherry Jacobs, Bobby Leister, Patrick Strauss, good morning, Crystal Mapp, Ricky King, Scott Snow is in, Linda Christ, Sarah Elkins. Good morning, everybody. Glad you're all here. Junior Samples, Stephen Castaneda, Carter Castaneda, all checking in. Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Hayfeed and Ranch Services. And stop on by for all you need. Freeze Miser is going to be in stock. They will help you as the weather gets a little bit on the cold side. For the next few days. According to 39 degrees right now, it feels like 34 going to warm up to 68 today. Might be the warmest day that we're going to see in a while. Well, no, tomorrow's looking nicer. I'll give you a sneak peek into the weekend. 75 for the high tomorrow. That might be the nicest day because I think, if I'm not mistaken, when I looked at it last night, we're looking at potentially sleet and snow Tuesday. 75 tomorrow, 67 on Saturday, and then it cools off. We're going to see temps only in the 50s on Sunday. We're not even going to reach that on Monday. We'll be lucky if we hit 40, and then Monday night, apparently into Tuesday morning, at least this is what the forecasters are saying now, we could see a wintry mix with sleet and snow and maybe up to about a quarter of an inch of the white powdery stuff on the ground. And we're not talking at any cartel residence. So just be forewarned, but Deerland Feed has your freeze misers. Go get them. They do work wonders. David Glass checking in. Scott Tomko says he's got the firewood ready to go. Junior Samples mocking me for my Canadian. I can't check those lights if I'm talking. Let me just do this. Appreciate the heads up on that, Tammy. I'm not sure what's going on with the radio this morning. We'll try to sort that out. Everything looks like it's on. So we'll reset something and maybe it'll work. Lisa Poole, check it in. Ryan Hopping, good morning. So anyway, if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, like and share the video. I thought this was interesting, and I don't know that it's going to get a lot of play, so I'm gonna play it. Bear with me as I bring this up. Dr. Patrick Soon-Shiong, he is now the owner of the LA Times, and you may recall, well, Linda Chris says we're working well in nursery. But you may recall that when he bought the LA Times last year, there were a few people that left. They didn't like what he had to say, and listen to what he had to say. And this is in relation to COVID vaccines. And keep in mind, this is a guy who's a renowned transplant surgeon. So he's got some understanding of, and certainly perspective and a long history.
And safety of the vaccines is real science. We need to talk about it. And guess what? Not only are we going to have two big crises about the recovery of California over the next decade, but we're going to have to address the rising incidence of cancer. For the first time in my career, I've seen an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old with colon cancer. The first time in my career, I've had a 13-year-old child in our clinic die of metastatic pancreatic cancer. We have to face this effectiveness and face reality. The good news is that we can do something about it. The good news now, there are effective therapies because we understand the science in such an immense way.
So, interesting. He's linking the COVID vaccines to cancer, and it's his observation, obviously. But it just goes back to what we've talked about on this show. You rush something like that to market, the unintended consequences are not known. They never are. That's why they're unintended. But when the government gave, and this was the Trump administration, I'm not blaming the administrations. I think it didn't matter who was in. I do blame them. I don't know that you had to do this. I don't know that you had to give blanket immunity to the drug manufacturers to produce this vaccine. And then you go and you force everybody to take it. And you double down on kids in spite of the data that showed that children didn't suffer, weren't dying, weren't even getting sick for the most part. Oh, but they're probably carrying it, so they need the vaccine to keep them from carrying it. They're spreading it. They're the super spreaders that are going to take it into nursing homes when they go visit grandma. Remember the fear? We've never been more afraid of kids in our lives than we were during COVID, or at least the government wasn't. They were going to be the ones that brought it into the nursing homes and to kill all the old people because, well, they never get sick. They just carry it. And then there was no proof they did that even. And finally, you have a doctor who has a newspaper and he's in California, so chances are he'll probably end up getting canceled. His practice will probably suffer. Because that's what the left likes to do. And I know there's lots of things that are going on, but I like to bring up some of the things that nobody's talking about. because this is one of them. Matt Boucher checking in. So the grandstanding yesterday in Washington, D.C. just completely continues to baffle me. And this senator from Hawaii, I don't know why she continues to ask questions. Mazie Hirono is a complete idiot. She got into it with Pam Bondi yesterday and in her nomination for Attorney General, and she just completely, once again, like she did with Pete Hegseth. It was funny because the line of questioning with Hegseth when she got in there was all about him drinking on the job, and she sounded about as drunk as anybody I've ever listened to. Slurring words. But all this is turning into, and unfortunately, it's turning less into the nominees for these positions than it is about the senators on both sides. More so grandstanding, I think, on the Democrat side, but the Republicans are guilty of taking their whatever 3 minutes or whatever they get and using most of it to talk about their accomplishments and how they feel about something. If you were running for Senate last election, we heard how you feel about something. And chances are when these people were nominated, you already voiced your approval or disapproval. And I think we're back on Magic, so good morning. Welcome to the Magic, folks. But the nomination process, I don't have a problem with the process. I have a problem with how it's played out now. Because it's becoming less and less about the nominees. Even though they're trying to make it about the nominees, it's really about themselves. The senators, not the nominees as much, as such, or as much. I don't know. Am I off? Or are you guys seeing the same thing? Are you watching the same thing I'm watching and listening to? It's almost a turnoff. And I thought Pam Bondi handled herself real well yesterday in Attorney General nomination process. Every time they try to double down on the left about partisan politics and using the Attorney General to go after Donald Trump's enemies, they tried to back her into a corner. Well, if Donald Trump asked you to go after this person, will you do it? And she wouldn't play their game. She didn't bite. H.R. Mallory says it's free advertising for him. Yeah, but, well, and unfortunately, the voters in Hawaii are idiots. They really are. They've got arguably the most beautiful state in the country. Not arguably, it is. And they can't figure it out. They don't have any snakes. But they struggle. It's expensive to live there, and that's not a government. Well, it partially is, I think, some of the government problems. But, I mean, it's, everything's got to show up there on a boat. groceries, cars, building materials. Honolulu is really the only big city. Other places have some amenities, but it's not like they have what Victoria has to offer. Lahaina was nice. I don't know what it's like post-fire, but it was very touristy. But they keep electing Democrats, and then they wonder why they have high crime, why people live on the dole, why they have such a high incidence or rates of people who are on welfare. Junior says he'll take Alaska over Hawaii any day. Oh, you saw it from a boat. You waved to the polar bears and the grizzlies and the folks standing on the shore. Go live in sub-zero darkness for 8 months out of the year. You might change your mind. But they can't figure out why they I don't know. But electing Mazie Hirono is just crazy. And they keep electing her. She was in the House for 6 years. And then they elected her to the Senate in 2013, and there she's been. But I'm not sure. Scott Tomko says he'll take snakes over a lava flow any day. You don't have to live on the Big Island. Yeah, HR points out, and this is a good example of how she avoided what was going on when he tried to bring up a hypothetical. We're talking about Adam Schiff, and she said, let's talk about real issues, like robberies being up 87% in California. And I know and I know there's not much she can do as an Attorney General of the United States to fix California's problem. Oh, hypocrisy is not limited to one party. I'm not saying it is. But the voters in Hawaii tend to continually vote Democrat thinking that the government's going to fix their problems. And the government has never fixed their problems at any level. Yet they keep looking to the government to fix their problems. And because it's so expensive to live there, the people there can't fix their own problems because they're already taxed to death. They don't have the means to do it. Time to take a break, folks. Get down to Palace Bingo tonight. It's Wade and Carter Bingo night. I'll be there, Brent, trying to get back. We'll see if he manages. But regardless, I'll be there. We'll have a good time. We always do. It's always a lot of fun. Food is great. Cake is great. Popcorn's always a big seller. They usually sell out of popcorn. I ever sell out of popcorn? I don't know, but they do. You get a couple of free cold adult beverages if you're over 21. So come on out tonight. Have a great time. 7:30 it'll all start. You'll be home shortly after 10 o'clock. Chesnick Furniture Company. Well over 100 years, they've been providing Victoria, the Crossroads, and South Texas furniture, bedding, appliances, kitchen and dining room sets, accoutrement. Go see Chesnick at Juan Lynn, corner bridge and Juan Lynn. White Trash Services for all your demolition and site service needs. White Trash has you covered. 550-1826. Have a trash-tastic day with White Trash Services. Empire Vita Wellness. Get in, get healthy, we always say. That mushroom coffee, for lack of a better word, that Erica brought in on Friday was really, really good. I like mushrooms. I wasn't sure what to make of mushrooms being ground up and turned into a tea or coffee-like beverage, but it was really good. Go in and give it a shot. And Veracruz today, the day after Caldo Wednesday. If you're looking for Mexican food, you got a craving, none better than Veracruz. I try to eat healthy when I'm there. I usually get the taco salad without the chips, guacamole, and I just use that, and the hot sauce is basically my dressing for it. So good. So the FDA has said bye-bye, red dye 3. Couple of decades of pressure by consumers, food safety groups. The dye, petroleum-based, provides that very vibrant red color in a lot of mostly candies and junk food, to be honest, but it's also used in a lot of stuff, had been used in cosmetics, I think. Some are saying, well, it's only proven to show that it causes cancer in rats, but we seem to use rats for all of our basis for our clinical testing. I believe we're one of the last countries in the world to have banned it. Lots of studies that it may be linked to some of the attention deficit problems that kids have as well. Your thoughts, chime in on Facebook or YouTube. Let me know. What do you think? One thing I've noticed, though, boy, there seems to be a lot of action being taken in the last few days of the Biden administration. Like Biden yesterday in his farewell, and I didn't watch any of it. I tried, and I just couldn't do it. Because it was nothing more than lies. I've got the transcript of it here somewhere. But Junior Sample says he's worried about Little Debbie. They'll be fine. The candy industry in every other country seems to have managed. Yeah, things aren't quite as red. They're not quite as purple. Just reading on this on the New York Times that red dye number 3 is even in yellow rice. Who would have thought? I thought it was saffron that made that. Patrick Sprouse saying, wondering how many lies he told in that speech. That's exactly why I couldn't watch it, because I started to. He was warning of an oligarchy taking shape in America and pointed to the tech industry. Pure deflection. You were the oligarchy in the tech industry. Mark Zuckerberg finally admitted it. And Mark Zuckerberg to Joe Rogan trying to come off like he was just some innocent victim of government persuasion and pressure. Did they also force you to give, anywhere from $400 to $800 million in elections in 2020? I think he dumped $200 million into Georgia alone to try to swing that election. And those are the rough estimates. That's just 400, I think, is verified. 800 is what some are saying. Hey, Shelby Garcia, good to see you. Is anybody buying that this was a Biden victory for the ceasefire between Israel and Gaza? Meanwhile, a ceasefire that apparently needs to be voted on, and Israel apparently has decided to delay the vote. That deal was supposed to go to Israel's cabinet as early as today, but there's just still some sticking points that remain unresolved with Hamas. Now the devil's in the details, and this is the problem. They were set to release hostages beginning on Sunday. Some of the reports I've heard that Israel's set to release up to 3,000 Hamas prisoners in exchange for the 100 plus hostages. I'm sure some of them, I mean, are they still hostages when they're dead? I don't know. U.S., Egypt, and Qatar apparently involved in. How does Qatar get off, or Qatar, however you want to pronounce it, get off on this as being like the heroes of this? Their king or prince or whoever runs that country, he'll get a Nobel Peace Prize for brokering this deal. And everybody will either look past or gloss over the fact that they have harbored and housed Hamas terrorists for years. When they fled the Gaza Strip after Israel attacked in retaliation for the attacks 15 months ago, they ran to Qatar. And they were very quick to point out, oh, the U.S. played a huge role in this. Had nothing to do with Biden. It's because what's coming up on Monday? A change of administrations. That's what's happening in Washington, D.C. on Monday. That's why this ceasefire all of a sudden got done. And this is just my gut feeling. Qatar wanted this done because they know the wrath of the Trump administration is going to come after them for their role in hiding Hamas terrorists. They needed to look like the good guys on this one, and then they pumped up the Americans. Joe Biden had 15 months to try to broker a deal and couldn't get it done. And technically, this deal gets done during the Biden administration, and they're all over there in the Middle East going, oh, yeah, the U.S. played a huge role. The U.S. played a huge role. It wasn't the Biden administration that played a huge role. It's their fear of what's going to happen next week when the Biden administration is no longer in place. That's what's played a huge role. That's what played a huge role. Don't buy into this. The Biden administration was like being handed a scratch-off ticket that wins. They didn't pick it. They didn't do anything. They just happened to be lucky. And the administration in charge. because they're afraid of what is to come. Syria needs to take note. So Joe Biden can take all the credit he wants, but anybody with any astute observations of world affairs knows he had nothing to do with this thing. You're telling me Anthony Blinken finally was able to figure it out after 4 years of nothing? Might be the worst Secretary of State ever. Maybe right up there with Pelosi, or I should say Hillary. John Kerry. Boy, there's been a bunch of bad ones, haven't there? Obama didn't pick a lot of winners, that's for sure. Oops, forgot to change. Still figuring out some of the technology. There, I'll catch up. There we go. Here's another interesting one that you're not going to hear much about. For the last 4 years, banks, investors, threatening everyday average consumers that if you don't have an ESG score that they approve of, they may not lend you money to buy that house or that car. You've got to prove that you're on board with all their DEI BS and their environmental bull crap. And if you don't drive an electric vehicle, you may not get a mortgage. This is some of the extremes, but this is where it was going. And this is how you know it was all a money play, folks. Blackrock, who manage assets in larger amounts than some small countries have at their disposal. BlackRock left the Net Zero Asset Managers Initiative last week. Reuters reporting it. At last report, BlackRock manages about $11.5 trillion in assets. So the Net Zero Asset Managers Initiative, emphasis on the ass, suspended their activities after BlackRock pulled out. They have no more money, that's why. They're not the only one. I believe BlackRock left. Vanguard pulled out. State Street, I think, was another one in there. That's not reported by Reuters, but that's what I've heard. There we go. State Street says they will carefully evaluate the Net Zero Asset Managers review and then decide on a course of action. So they haven't pulled out yet. JP Morgan wouldn't comment to Reuters. But this asset management initiative had asked their members to support the goal of capping global warming. Not man-made, folks. See, it's global warming here. And their goal was to reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. So what do? They join this asset management initiative. They build the funnel so that you have to go and invest with them and companies they control because they're the monetary saviors of the planet. And you've got to get in line or we're not going to lend to you. And anybody who might lend to them, well, you know what? They'll get bought up by JP Morgan or Citi or Blackrock. And they force you into there. And then BlackRock goes and buys solar panel and home electric companies and windmill production. Now they pull out. You watch, BlackRock will be a bigger investor in traditional oil and gas exploration probably in the next 2 weeks. Because that's where President Trump has said that's where we're going to go. Drill, baby, drill. Remember that? BlackRock doesn't do anything because it's the right thing to do or it feels good or it's going to save the planet. It's all about making money. And the whole thing was all a wealth transfer anyway. Al Gore's reaping millions in rewards for using his political clout and influence to help steer this country into its lunacy that it went to regarding the environment, and he got paid handsomely. Where's Al Gore been lately? Nowhere. He's made millions. He's off riding in the sunset. He doesn't give a crap about the environment. He wanted to make money. Tammy Keeling says current and incoming administrations work together to broker that deal in Hamas. But that's my point. The current administration had absolutely no clue. They couldn't get it done in 15 months. They had no role in this other than to be at the table because of the current administration. Trump was coming in and it got done. That's why. 15 freaking months of nothing. Don't tell me this current administration played any role in this other than to sit at the table because they were the official party in charge and had to sit at the table. That's it. And then Joe Biden can sit there and tell the country yesterday in his farewell address, well, we got a ceasefire done in the Middle East. He'll get the Nobel Peace Prize. They sat at the table, peeing down their legs, trembling in fear of the incoming Trump administration. Everybody did. The Saudis, Qatar, Hamas, Biden's administration, folks, they all sat there peeing down their legs because Trump was coming in and got it done. The Abraham Accords. 3 historic peace treaties signed by the Trump administration in the Middle East. Peace between countries that have never had peace before. Biden and his administration had no role in this other than to sit at the table because they had to sit at the table because they are the administration in charge. That's it. Yeah, thanks, Jared, for bringing that up. That was my point when Biden was talking about a tech oligarchy. He's basically allowed our military industrial oligarchies to run this country the last few years. We're sending money to Hamas under the guise of humanitarian aid. They siphon it off. They buy weapons from Iran, drones to attack Israel. Then we go and give Israel a bunch of weapons. Just sent another $500 million to Ukraine. Meanwhile, we allow Iran to build nuclear weapons or restore their nuclear program so they can build weapons. They get money. Then they sell those weapons to Russia so Russia can then attack Ukraine. Shipment of guns that the U.S. is paying for by supplying Israel goes missing and ends up on the black market, bought by Hamas to be used against Israel. Well, maybe it's a shipment of rocks. But you get my point. This administration has funded both sides of the major conflicts in this world right now. Directly, inadvertently. And he has the gall because he's mad at Elon Musk because Elon Musk didn't support him. And Elon Musk has turned Twitter into X and into a bastion of free speech. And in order to compete, Mark Zuckerberg has to go, well, the government made me do it, but no, we believe in free speech too. I'm just a victim. I couldn't stand up to the Biden administration. I just acquiesced and coalesced with everything they wanted. Now I'll just, as they're going out the door, I'll blast them. That's Mark Zuckerberg. He ain't a victim. He's facilitated victims of people whose free speech and First Amendment rights were trampled on during COVID. First time I ever got banned from Facebook was during COVID. I put a picture of the band The Cure, if any of you remember them from the 80s. New wave band. Robert Smith, lead singer. Go look up a picture. The meme said, I don't know a thing about COVID, but I know one thing. This is The Cure. Banned for a week for putting up that meme. He wasn't a victim. He was all for it. Time to take our next break. Head over to Hatzenoffer and hatzenoffer.com if you're looking for a brand new vehicle, Chevrolet, Mitsubishi, pre-owned of all makes and models. You need a truck. You've got a commercial business. You need trucks for your electricians. You need trucks for your servicemen or women. Got an AC repair company, you need a new truck. Hatzenoffer has a truck division. They can put you into any size truck and make it accommodate it to do anything you need it to do. Hold tools, equipment, lift equipment into the bed of that truck. They can do it all. Go see Tommy and the gang over at Hatzenoffer. USA Concrete Coatings for all your concrete coating needs. They even level houses. So if you've got foundation issues, USA Concrete Coatings, USA Foundation Repair, it's all out of the Charlie Garcia empire. Him and his brothers will come out and get the job done. You need to get that image of Mike McCarthy, the Cowboys coach, off your Cowboys den floor. Just put a TBD until they hire the next one. They can do that for you. Went services for all your electrical needs, all your backup generator needs, whether it's whole home, whether it's a partial home generator. All the rage right now are these solar generators. I don't know that I would trust them. They sound great, and then you find out that if you buy the small one and you can, there's no emissions. There's no emissions with the wet ones either. They're not running in your house. You're not going to have any carbon monoxide backing up. Propane, natural gas. But you're not limited to 5 pots of coffee like you are with some of these solar generators that they're trying to push. And the big solar generators, they're not any cheaper. And if the sun ain't shining, they're not working or recharging. Give Went a call. RK Development Group, Daniel Rollins and the gang. 35 years can be combined experience. He's a Marine. He's a veteran. Support your veteran-owned business. They can help you with all your construction needs, specifically metal buildings. They do a great job. Couple of big projects. Go check out their Facebook page. They like to showcase their work there, and they're doing a great job. Oh, let's see what else has the FDA done that cigarettes. FDA decides that finally we're going to ban cigarettes or at least make them weaker. I mean, again, the timing of this stuff is just strange, isn't it? This is an administration that has done nothing for 4 years. And in the last week of the Biden administration, to save his approval ratings, things start to happen. We get a ceasefire in Israel. We get red dye number 3 banned. The FDA decides to go ahead and recommend that or push forth a proposal that would require big tobacco to produce less addictive products for traditional smokers, according to that's how the New York Times phrased it. And again, make no mistake, this is happening, and you can bet Philip Morris and others that are involved in the tobacco industry are probably the investors behind all of the e-cigarettes, or a lot of them, a huge portion of the market. Listen to the New York Times. If finalized, the proposal would require cigarette makers to significantly reduce the levels of nicotine in their products in an effort to make smoking less addictive and less satisfying. Researchers suggested the move would result in fewer people taking up the habit and would help the nation's roughly 30 million smokers quit or switch to less harmful alternatives like e-cigarettes. Less harmful in what way? Have you seen the pictures of the popcorn lungs that people get for smoking e-cigarettes and vaping? It's not flavored water they're smoking. These things are chemically laden. They won't have red dye number 3 in them anymore. But all the FDA's pushed to get rid of flavored tobacco, like peach flavored cigars and blueberry flavored cigars. It's all in the juice of these vapes. Less harmful. And the vapes have nicotine in them too. But don't do anything about the real problems with cigarettes. The tar and the chemicals that actually cause the cancer. It's not the nicotine causing the cancer. It's everything else in the cigarettes. But no, we're not going to worry about that. We'll just reduce the nicotine. Meanwhile, all you guys that are smoking cigarettes, go over to vape. Big Tobacco will still make their money. We'll just trade you this chemical that produces a nasty byproduct of secondhand smoke and rather putrid smelling smoke to a vape that has very little to no odor, and when it does, it smells like blue raspberry or bubble gum. And the FDA is supposed to be looking out for us. That's funny. HR Mallory says, we need more people to study, to smoke vapes for 20 years or so we can study the effects. Absolutely. Let's go back to we're almost at the 60s with vapes, right? There's no harm. You're pregnant with quadruplets? Go ahead. Vape away. Vape away. In fact, have 4 vapes a day. I'm not talking just use it 4 times. Empty that damn little canister of the liquid for 4 times a day. Go nuts on the stuff. That's where we are. It's where we are. Hamas saying that Israel attacked Hamas yesterday after the ceasefire was agreed to. See what details come out of that. That's just sort of what I just caught. Period of dangerous fire weather conditions in LA has passed, according to Mayor Karen Bass. Anybody in California or in LA even have any confidence in this mayor anymore? But there's just another Santa Ana wind event around the corner, they're saying, next week. Palisades fire just 21% contained. The Eaton fire, 45% contained. Hopefully they'll let those fire trucks that were sent from Oregon out of Sacramento so they can go help. Let's take our final break. Let's talk a little bit about the dollar floor store and all they can do to help you if you need new flooring. 39 cents on tile right now. You're not going to beat that price, and prices under $1 on other flooring as well. Ceramic, vinyl. They've got vinyl. They've got carpet, laminate, wood flooring, anything you want. They've got it at the dollar floor store. Stop by and see them. They open at 8 o'clock today. You'll support a Texas-owned business. Go see Tamara and the gang over there. The VCS Company is the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer, all part of the Hartman Communication empire, right there on Kerr Boulevard. If you need installation of a complex communication system, VCS has you covered. If you need something, just iPhones or Android phones for the family, the VCS Companies has you covered. So anything that squawks, talks, communicates, listens, can surf the web, they've got you covered at the VCS Companies. And JAS Solutions for all your cleaning needs. They'll help you out whether you're buying a home and you want to clean it up before you move in, whether you're selling a home and you want to clean it up before you move out or right after you move out. Flu has gone through your home and you want to give it a good cleansing. Commercial, residential, industrial, JAS Solutions has got you covered. Junior says the confidence level drops at the California border. Absolutely. Jeff Bezos trying to keep up with Elon Musk. His Blue Origin rocket company launched its New Glenn rocket into orbit today. Made its maiden flight early this morning, 1 o'clock our time. Supposedly this rocket will be powerful enough to launch new satellites into space, so that's good news. Might be able to compete with the Chinese on that one. So they launched the rocket into space. What they were hoping was that the first stage booster would safely land back on a platform in the sea after it took off, but that did not happen. You'll recall that SpaceX did that the last time they were able to launch a rocket and have it land right there. That was pretty cool, watching it catch itself. It was like first time you ever tossed a baseball way up high and then got underneath and caught it. It's kind of what it reminded me of, except the space version and a whole lot more dangerous. And let's see, Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, Michael Vick, all heading the 2025 College Football Hall of Fame class. Wait till Brent gets back. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. But I mean, from a college football standpoint, Michael Vick from his dogfighting days, I'm not so sure. But Saban and Meyer, two of the best coaches ever. Steve Slayton was a former West Virginia running back. Got the nod into the College Hall of Fame. Ran for over almost 4,000 yards in his 3 years. That's pretty impressive. Trying to see who else is on the list that might recognize. Miami linebacker Darren Smith, he was pretty good back in the late 80s, early 90s. I remember him. Dennis Thurman, defensive back, played with the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken. Finally gets in out of Southern Cal, was a good Cowboy, was a pretty good college football defensive back, so congrats to him. And congrats to you for sticking it out with me for the last 2 days as I flew solo. Really appreciate it. Hope I got you thinking. If nothing else, thanks for joining me, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, folks.
I've been kicked out of my near every ball.